All right, we're live. It's Sunday, January 21st, and my goodness, it's cold outside, and I'm glad we're inside. So that is what I'm happy for right now, and I'd like to welcome everybody to be here with us. Here we are, Steve. How you doing, my friend?
I'm good, but do remember that I'm on the West Coast, so it ain't that cold.
Not that cold for you. Yeah, you're spoiled. You spoiled,
Yeah,
spoiled writer, publisher, creator, person. You.
but I grew up on Long Island in New York, and it was damn cold there.
Oh, dude, you know what real cold is? Long Island, New York. Yeah, it's like I was.
First for me, because remember in the 1980s when I created Zen, Dan, it was in his native state of Maine. Now you want to talk bitter cold?
That's That's cold. That is
Yeah.
cold. That is cold. Yeah, I was born in Queens, but I only lived in New York City until I was like 7 or 8 years old, and I'm Puerto Rican, so that
So
cold weather doesn't work for me so much.
yeah. So you really, that's why I always felt that simpatico with you. I mean, you're a PR from New York, from Nueva York.
That's what happens. That's what it is. That's what it
Very
is.
cool. Yeah. And I'm a Jew from Long Island, so there you go.
Well, let's see. Let's see who's in the room with us tonight. Christopher, how you doing, my friend? I saw everybody was saying hello a little bit earlier. That is awesome. Glad you guys are here. Shadowhawk, howdy, Mighty Geek.
Cool.
Pops, how you doing, my friend?
Madness.
That was when we had 5 minutes to go. Kevin, how you doing, dude? You may all rejoice, for I have arrived.
You're here.
Ken, evening, my friend. There we go. Awesome, awesome. David, how you doing, man? Is today today is actually not my birthday. My birthday is on it's next week. It's on the 26th. So when we do our weekend live streams, we'll try to make a big deal out of my birthday.
Absolutely.
As I
Another year.
Get a little bit older. It's like what do you do, man? What options do I have? It's either leave this earthly coil or keep on getting old. Let's see. Kevin says, what about those people that it's Monday morning, Ken? Okay, those people don't matter. Never mind. It's cold and wet. Kevin, you're in You're not San Diego. You're in Santee. You're in California. It's cold and wet. That's unheard of.
Well, there was a little rain today, and there may be some more coming, but I don't know where in the great state of California, Kevin.
Oh, down south. Santee is actually west of San Diego.
Oh,
so southern San Diego, Southern California. Yep.
Very cool.
Man, Chicago is cold. Yes, it is. Holy smokes! I don't know what part of Chicago you're in, but it's all cold. I've only visited Chicago, and it is extremely cold.
And First Comics is headquarters is Chicago.
Oh, so Ken is freezing right now.
Right.
Oh, holy smokes!
But Ken Levin, who founded and still runs First Comics, he was, shall we say, maybe smart enough to move to Playa del Rey out here in California. Yeah.
There you go. Leave the other guys remote.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, let's see. Kevin says you deny that you're getting old and you will stay always young. I like that. I'll live in denial. I will live in denial for as long as I can. La Mesa, California in the house. Good. I'm glad you're from La Mesa, David. I miss San Diego, man, dude. I lived in National City for quite a few years, and I lived in Mira Mesa, so not far away from you, man. Not far away at all. Mighty Geek says it doesn't matter. Yeah, Chicago. Last time I was flying, you know how the wind? I think it's Midway, right? That's the more windy airport to fly into. When we were doing some shows up in Chicago, I remember flying in and out of Midway, and that was kind of scary, and I didn't like all of that. Not too shabby. Yeah, it's San Diego, dude. It's like Shadowhack says, hail Bill and the chat. Indeed, man. Hail all you guys for being here. I really do appreciate you guys hanging out with us. And we're doing it again. This is what we're going to be doing for the remainder of this cycle of the show, is working live on the actual book. So we're working on Zen Bounty Wars #1. I've got a little bit of page 1 to ink, and I've got some of page 2 to pencil, and we'll just kind of talk our way through it, and we'll pay attention to the chat. Steve's going to help me pay attention to the chat while I'm looking down and stuck in a sheet of paper while I can't look up at the screen.
So from a writer's and continuity standpoint, how about, Bill, if we I printed out the entire script for book one. Right? I have it.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'll go back and look at page one.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And I could read, the description of the panels, and you could.
Well, I could be inking one of the panels while you're reading the description. Of course, and we'll just talk our way through it, because this is what I want you guys to see as we're going through is the creative process. There's nuts and bolts that go into creating a story and creating a book, and I don't think everybody really talks about all, like, because there's some nuts and bolts about creating a book that. Like if you're watching a speed painting or another video of somebody creating a piece of artwork, you tend to skip over those parts, and you don't know. And I always find those parts to be interesting. So exactly, yeah. Let me change my perspective here, and get down to the nitty gritty of comic book creation.
Yes, and
I was getting.
You interpret what I wrote, and things do change.
There you go. And things change subtly, but it's like you describe the panel, and sometimes I just choose to hold the camera in a different place or from a different angle, or we'll see. We'll do it as we go.
Okay.
We'll do it
So
as we
page
go.
one, the description I wrote for panel one says large introductory panel. Zen is flying down through multicolored clouds to the surface of a planet in the teapot, manipulating the holographic controls. Now, obviously, from the angle doing this, we're not going to see him manipulating the controls. But again,
Exactly.
I just write it, as I kind of see it in my mind's eye, and then
Right.
Bill makes it happen the way he feels. It's
But you know what? Even though, because I could have actually had like a close up of him, doing the controls on the panel, like flying the teapot in. The scene that I sort of had in my head is kind of like that one scene in like Prometheus where you've got the ship just came in through the atmosphere and it's flying over these mountains, right? So it's like with me knowing that you wrote that informs me as to, like, it's like I need to know what's happening and I need to know what Zen is doing in order for me to make sure, even though it's like it's a simple panel of just the ship flying through the clouds and you just see jagged mountains and alien background down here, that he's flying down, but me knowing that you wrote that informs me and helps me decide exactly how to place that scene,
Right.
So like pretending I was filming it.
Yeah, and what's cool is, just to give a little more insight, I also indicated there's a caption in panel one, and the caption reads, "On occasion, I've been asked, is bounty hunting a dangerous profession?" Okay, so that's that indicates obviously it's Zen talking or thinking, whatever you want to call it, right?
Exactly.
And then panel two, it says he lands and steps out of the pod consulting a tracking device. You do have that there, right? I see.
Oh yeah. I really thought that had to be, you had to see that he was doing that.
Right.
And I couldn't just imply that he was doing it. So I actually had to, it's like I implied how he's exiting the teapot, because like he sort of just like walks through the energy membrane of the teapot to enter and to exit the teapot. So I sort of implied how he's getting in and out of the teapot, so you don't really see how he's like coming out of the teapot, but it's implied.
It's cool.
But that's not really the most important part. The most important part of the scene is the fact that he's using this tracking device. He's tracking someone down. So
right.
That was
in that panel, and it says the answer to that question should be obvious, but that doesn't stop some people from asking it. Again, the question being, is bounty hunting a dangerous profession? Right. So those two panels are both fully inked, are they not? 1 and 2.
Mostly. I've got some tree. I've got this tree over here, and there's just gonna be some foliage and stuff. And the thing with it's an alien world. We wanted like these multicolored clouds that he's actually coming through. So even though I've got like hard artwork, hard lined line art for what you see here. Like I really want the rest of the clouds in the background to be all digital. It's going to be all done with the coloring. So
That's cool. So let's go to panel 3,
mm-hmm.
and I'll tell you what description was, which was Zen makes his way across rugged terrain, including strange-looking trees with large branches, because the branches are going to play a part in this.
Right.
So,
exactly.
So there
and that's implied that panel, like what I saw when I read the script for that panel, it was much more important. Instead, because like him going across the rugged terrain and perhaps jumping from tree branch to tree branch, I could have broken that up into a page. That could have been just one whole page of him just doing that. But since I just had the one panel, it felt more important that he's like really being sneaky and he's looking over, and then in the background, I'm probably going to have, like with the coloring, I'm going to have like the shadow of like these trees that are actually drawn. So these are the trees and the large branches and all that stuff will be drawn on this side where he's hiding actually up in a tree branch looking down at the bad guy here. So
cool.
But it was much more important to see that he was being sneaky. And I thought it was a much more interesting way to sort of like, this is like the first page of the story and we're slowly revealing Zen. So he's doing something cool. He's in the shadows. Now all you see are his eyes. Now you see his silhouette. And then, soon enough, you're going to see a panel where you actually see his whole body. And it's like, okay, cool. Like you're slowly revealing our hero,
Nice. And panel 3 does have a caption. It says, "There are a ton of reasons why my profession is dangerous as hell. Some of them obvious, some not so obvious." This book has more insight into what it means to be a bounty hunter than previous books, including Hard Bounty. I really did a tremendous amount of research on bounty hunting, both in outer space, in sci-fi context, but also in a purist form, which really relates to the Old West.
Yeah. See, I love the fact that he talks to himself. He narrates to himself. You've got this. You want to see the inner workings of what he's thinking about and what it offers a lot. It offers a lot instead of just seeing him. Let's see, is a little teapot short and stout. I get it.
Now, panel 4.
Yes.
It's a little hard for me to see, but when I
I'll
wrote,
bring it up.
Was Zen spots his quarry, a large reptilian alien with green skin ducking around a large rock. Yeah, I see.
I see it a little bit better now. So in this scene, I'm actually going to be drawing the trees, and I think the trees still need some fine tuning. It's like that's generally where, because I really wanted him in that pose up in a tree branch looking down.
Yeah,
kind of like shadowy ninja. Just his eyes. You see his eyes. You don't really see his face or his like the shape of his muscles or anything like that. He's mostly in silhouette. And you don't really see the bad guy. You just see the bad guy sneaking away, like he's behind the rock.
A tail, right? A reptilian.
Yeah, you just got the tail. So it's implying that he's reptilian in nature. So it's just like, oh crap! Like, what are we in store for? What is this guy going to look like? Who is this bastard?
That picture could not have been broken down any better than you did.
Oh, dude, I appreciate it. And then I'm not really 100%. It's like this is the way I penciled in the armor scales, for the character. But those details might change a little bit, especially when I get closer to actually inking this panel, because I'm still in the middle of. Here we go. I'll bring over this here, because there's going to be a lot of new characters that are appearing in this issue for the first time. So this reptilian character, generally speaking, kind of looks like this. So that's what I was thinking. I was like, this guy doing like big neck, huge shoulders, like his. It looks like he skipped leg day, but he's got very muscular legs, but they're really like short compared to how big his arms are. And so the way that he moves would be very interesting. It'd be kind of cool looking to see him move around and pull out blasters and stuff like that. So
that's the first panel of page 2.
No, not at all. These are just rough sketches because I just wanted to play around and get an idea for what the characters are looking. I'm designing a lot of the characters like on the fly, on the go. So I'm reading the script and I'm just like, wow, what would this guy look like? What would this guy look like? So, and that's something that we could do too as the show goes on. Is I'm sure we're going to run into some pages where we're seeing a character for the first time, and it might be a character that we only see for a page or two.
Yeah.
Whether that character gets offed or whether that character lives on is a different story. But if they only appear in the book for a couple of pages, it's like it's going to be a brand new character. So we might actually reach out to the chat and see what you guys think. It's like, hey, you like the way this guy looks? It's like, maybe let you guys have some input. I think that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, what I think is really cool about that last panel is that you're just giving a hint of the reptilian nature of Zen's quarry. It's and you haven't revealed them yet, which is neat.
Yeah. I think that'll make it. I think that'll make it really fun. So let me break out page 2.
Okay.
And this is what we're in the middle of now. This is where we left off. This is where we left off last week.
Okay.
And in future episodes, the episodes are actually probably more than likely going to skip around. So it's like, we may be working on page 5 one week, and then we're working on page 10 the next week. But this week, I didn't get any work done on these pages. Because we were just barely getting started on pre-production on everything. Yeah. So there's a lot of nuts and bolts and bells and whistles to get together. So I'm going to make sure that the camera's focusing here. There you go.
Yeah, so the description of panel 1 on page 2 says Zen hustles behind a rock, pulling out his photon stick, which
there you go.
Done. And Zen says, "Put down your weapon and come along peaceably, Vardor." That's the name. Vardor. And Vardor, speaking off panel, says, "No way in hell, Zen."
He's got some attitude. He's got some sass.
Oh yeah, of course. He's a bad guy.
And then the next panel,
it says, "A large chunk of rock near Zen's head is blasted, nearly hitting Zen as it flies off."
Got it. So that's what I'm in the middle of penciling right now. Is I've got this blast. I'm gonna have some pieces of rock all all around his head, just like missing his head. By just an inch. So and that's what he's got right now. And then the other panels after that, this is what we were kind of roughing in last week. So this is what we're penciling now. It's like, and I'm almost thinking that you got panel 1, 2, and then panel 3 is this establishing shot, looking up at our bad guy up near, like behind the rock next to a tree. You can't make it out too good with all these little stick figures I got going on. Mm-hmm. But this is panel 3 and then panel 4. But these two scenes are actually the image actually bleeds into each other, and I'll have a panel border to divide and cut that out because I think that would be visually an interesting way to make the page really fun to look at.
Yeah, this would be interesting to see like how you massage what I wrote. Like panel 3, the description I wrote is close on the bad guy, Vardor. That's what I had there. And off panel says, "Don't make this any harder on yourself than it has to be." Okay. And Vardor says, "Yeah, right." And then panel 4 is Zen's point of view. He spots a large tree branch above the rock that Vardor is hiding behind. And Zen says, "Okay, have it your way."
There you go.
And then panel 5, Zen blasts the branch, which cracks off.
Exactly.
Right.
So this panel is going to be this really down and dirty, like the panel borders are going to be all, like all scratchy and stuff. Right. You're just going to see the blast point and the fact that the branch is actually breaking off. This single panel that's kind of divided into 2 panels is giving all the information from what you wrote for
Right.
panels 3 and 4. So unfortunately, like what I could have done is I could have actually just made this a 3 and 4. I could have just gave it a real good close up of our bad guy, good close up on his eyes, just being. But then I couldn't see what we were implying. We had this ominous thing about the tree branch being something that Zen could use to kind of take him out.
Right.
So if I did have the close up, I couldn't see the tree branch from that vantage point.
Right.
So I have him like far. I have him like up on the hill. Like Zen is actually the one who's close, looking up at this rock, and then the bad guy behind the rock, and then the tree behind the bad guy. So he's looking up this way, even though your eye is being drawn, panel 3 to panel 4.
Well, that's what's so cool is I can just write things as in my mind's eye, see them. But as I've always said, and I'll say it again, in a comic book or a graphic novel, the artist is the director. I'm not the director. I'm like the screenplay writer, if you will, okay, of a movie. But you're the director of the movie, Bill, and that's why, I always marvel at how talented artists like yourself, take some words that I wrote and turn it into something that's, intensely visual. So
directed by Billy Mouse.
Yeah, obviously, if you drew everything, to the letter of what I wrote, it would be nowhere near as visually exciting as or as comprehensible as it becomes. So that's why I love it and expect it.
Oh, I love it. The collaborative process is cool. It's so cool. And I wouldn't have written it the way that you wrote it. It's putting our ideas together is what makes it
I
cool.
think Ken just gave an edit. He said you could come along warm or cold. I like that. Opposed to,
I like that too.
Yeah, I'm going to write that down here. You can come along warm or cold. Let me write that down.
That's a famous bounty hunter line right there. That's a Mandalorian line right there.
Yeah, and I'll Ken, if you don't mind,
that'll be an homage to Mando Episode 1. I think that's where that line came from.
Absolutely. Okay, done. And always give your editorial comments, folks. That's cool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we definitely want to. We want to hear from you guys.
Very cool. Let's just watch Bill work a little magic.
Yeah, and it's cool because doing it like this, I'm actually taking a little bit of extra time to put in these little details and stuff. So it's it makes it fun because I like seeing just visual storytelling, atmospheric storytelling. Just if the word balloons weren't there, you should still be able to follow what's happening.
Right. I saw some interview with some actor and director, and the same kind of thing was said, that you should technically be able to do a movie with no dialogue. And there currently is one out, and John Woo directed it. It's called Silent Night.
Okay, I got you. Yeah.
It's brand new, and I think it went direct to streaming, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe on Amazon, which I have. And there is not one line of dialogue in the entire feature film. But it's, as you might suspect, it's an action film.
There was another movie, what's your face? I'm gonna have a brain fart now because my brain is thinking about two different things at the same time. But there was a movie that came out a little while back called Haywire. It starred Ewan McGregor. It had an all-star cast. I mean, there was a lot of people in this film.
Yeah.
I forget the actress's name, the MMA fighter turned actress's name, who played Cara Dune in in The Mandalorian.
Oh, you're right. The one who got fired, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, she got fired. I mean, it's like over some silly stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just like it's whatever. Everybody has different points of view or whatever.
So what about that film?
But Haywire, she's not she's not a classically trained actress. She's an MMA fighter who turned to acting. Okay, so the director, the writer, I forget if the director actually wrote the film, but Haywire was this really cool action adventure film, like, you know, assassins and fighting and kind of James Bondish. But they wrote the script to the movie, keeping her acting skills, like whatever her acting skill limit was at the time, in mind. You know, so there was a lot of scenes where they had her, you know, actually fighting and doing the things that she was really, really strong at, and then they kept her dialogue kind of like toned down a little bit and let the other actors do the heavy lifting as far as a lot of the dialogue. And so there was a lot of scenes in the movie that had no dialogue, but you could follow along really good. The cinematography was great. It was a cool movie. It was a really cool movie. I liked it a lot.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah. Haywire. Yeah.
I saw a movie yesterday I'd like to recommend to everybody and everybody listening now or later on. Jason Statham, right? He's one of my favorite.
Oh, yeah. He's one of my dudes. Yeah, for sure.
He's got this new movie out called The Beekeeper. It's the
I haven't seen anything about that yet.
It just came out. I saw it in the theater. And let me tell you something. It's the ultimate Statham movie. And it is non-stop awesome. Okay? I highly, highly recommend it. If one is a fan of action films, you got to see this.
I'm a Jason Statham fan to begin with, so that's why I was a little surprised that I didn't recognize the name of it or anything. I'm just
it just came out, but I got to tell you, it's like I enjoyed his Transporter movies, right? And of course he's been in things like The Expendables, but this movie was written, you know, strictly for him, and it's somewhat over the top. But it's in my estimation, it's the best film he's ever been in.
Wow, that's saying all right.
It's, you just you know, it's like an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes long, and it just goes so fast, and it's pretty damn amazing. So everybody, check it out, The Beekeeper. Nobody's paying me to promote this.
We're not sponsored by Jason Statham.
Time watching it. And, if anybody sees it, the next time we get together here, I'd like to hear your thoughts. You know, I thought of him as one who as Zen.
Right. Let's see. This is my favorite weekend wind down: drinking a beer and watching some art. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Thanks, Ken. I'm glad you guys are here, man. It's like it makes everything worthwhile, you know. Nick says, "Howdy. What are we working on? We're all working on Zen Bounty Wars.
Page.
We're working on page 2 of Zen Bounty Wars, and we're going to be working every week. You know, depending on how far I get into the book, we're going to be working on a different page of the book every single week. So that's going to be the format of the Zen Bounty Wars.
And you are going to, at some point, show us coloring being done, right?
Oh yeah. Here's the thing. You're going to see soup to nuts to bolts about, you know, creating these comics. So the idea is that 1 week we're going to concentrate more on pencils, like we're doing a lot of penciling, and you're just watching in real time. You know, just watching it in real time, just seeing how things come together, how we talk our way through it. Because Steve being the writer of the book and me being the artist on the book, like you could see, like I don't know if the people are watching the video that are creating their own comic books, and sometimes when you're new to something like this, these are things that you don't know. It's like what's the relationship like between the writer and the artist. Where does somebody, what are the limits? What are the boundaries? At which point would an artist actually step on the writer's toes? Like if I decided to just draw like whatever the heck I wanted to in this panel without even sticking to the script, it's like, the writer puts in all this time and energy into, creating the script and creating the setting. So, it's like, at which point do you start stepping on other people's toes because you're not sticking with the script? You know what I mean?
Well, that's like, yeah. But speaking as the writer in this particular instance, if you come up with a better idea to exploit something that I've written, I would prefer you don't stick to the script.
Well, see, that's another thing people don't know too. It's like Steve and I worked together for 30 years.
Yeah.
We've known each other for quite a long time. Steve, you're very comfortable at telling me how you feel about, it's like, oh, this came out cool, or like, and if it wasn't cool, I know you would say something. You would tell me, and it's not going to break up a friendship. But some writers are working with artists that they don't know, so maybe those rules are be a little bit different. You have to be a little bit more sensitive to how people feel, because you as the artist, you certainly wouldn't want people to turn around and change the work that you put into it. It's a give and take. It's a tit for tat. It's a relationship. It's
well, yeah, I mean, the thing is, you and I've not only been working together on Zen and related projects for decades, but we've also worked on projects for clients, through my
exactly
novels. Bill has brought several screenplays for our clients to life, right? And that's just another permutation whereby I'll get a script, a screenplay from a client. I will adapt that to a graphic novel script, and Bill takes over after that. So
those are things that people don't know about us, is that we're actually working on people's screenplays and scripts. There's a lot of people that don't realize that we're working on 150-page books in between issues of Zen, as it were.
And let's not forget Nira X. You have a new Nira Kickstarter coming up soon, right?
Yeah, it's going to launch on February 18th. It is Nira X Dark Seas #2. We actually do have. There's another live stream. We do a live stream every Saturday, every Sunday. Obviously, about the Sunday one because we're here. And on Saturday, we also do a 10 o'clock live stream from my studio. We kind of concentrate. We concentrate on Nira on Saturdays. We concentrate on Zen on Sundays.
Right. The Saturday one is not involving me because that's strict. Bill writes, and Bill's a triple threat guy. He writes and draws and does everything on Nira. Right.
That's it.
And then we announced last week the basic launch date for Bounty Wars #1 on Kickstarter is March 21st. So that's when that's going to happen. And
you know what? If people want to sign up, we do have a pre-signed, like an early sign-up page, and let me show you what you get if you sign up on this early sign-up page. There's a special collectible card that Steve and I are both signing. On the front of the card, you have Zen Intergalactic Ninja. Steve is signing on the artist portion of that. He's a co-creator of Zen. I mean, it's like, dude, it's like having Steve's signature on there. And then on the back, I've got Nira, and she's wearing a costume that's specifically for the Zen Bounty Wars series. So that way you can recognize real quick like what book she's in just by glancing at her. So this collectible card is only for the people that and when you sign up, you're committing to anything right off the bat. I mean, you're just dropping off your name and your email, and then the guys will keep track of who's signed up and who's not when after the Kickstarter
Right.
launches.
In other words, what we're going to do is anyone who signs up, and then when the Kickstarter goes live, if you then support the project, at any level, that earns you that highly exclusive, collectible, two-sided signature card. But if, in other words, if you don't sign up prior to the launch of the Kickstarter, you will not get the card. So it's it's sort of like a reward for people that sign up early. And when you do sign up, you'll also be getting direct emails from us, with other special information and alerts, once we get a little closer to actually launching. So anybody watching this, either live or later on YouTube, I would recommend just signing up. It takes a minute, and it will earn you that card and some other cool stuff as we go along, which will be revealing.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a freebie. It's a freebie for just signing up early.
Absolutely.
So that's it's just a thank you, because we want to gauge the interest. So that way we could plan ahead. There's lots of things to organize, like our printers, our shipping, there's lots of nuts and bolts that go into supplying everything. So this really helps everybody involved, and it gives you something like a cool collectible for free. And I think it's a cool card too. I think that I like that.
Back to the page. You know what interests me? The fact that you don't do the panels necessarily in sequential order.
I do it. It all depends. It all depends. A lot of times I do, but a lot of times I don't.
Yeah.
So I sort of follow. I follow where the inspiration is going.
Yeah.
And I follow a lot more like what feels right in the moment. It's just like there's certain parts where it's just like, all right, I really needed to have, but I generally know this is the amount of space that I need for this anyway. But I really want to get that foreground looking back, and then I'll do a little. I'm either going to do a square panel border around him to just kind of like section him off, even though it's the same scene that you're looking at for this whole scene. So we'll see what makes more sense. What makes more sense visually.
Yeah. Well, this is why it's called creativity.
Right. That's another thing that I love about working with Steve and working on Zen, is that I do get some latitude creatively to do what feels right. Because what I'm thinking of constantly when I'm drawing the page or drawing the panel is when the reader looks at this page, what are they going to think? What are they going to look at and say, oh, that, I'm very invested in making sure that people are happy when they look at it. I want them to look at it and say, oh, that looks cool. It's like, that's my payoff.
Oh yeah. But, the interesting thing is when you start writing a story, you can do a lot of research, as in the case of Bounty Wars, I did voluminous amount of research. But once you start writing it, the characters and the action and the thematic material kind of all converge to make it go wherever the hell it's going to go.
It takes on a life of its own, right? I mean, no matter how much planning you do.
Absolutely.
Once you actually start putting it to the page and committing it to paper, it starts taking on its own thing.
Right. Otherwise, it would just be like a science experiment or something, right? So the thing, and again, that's why it's called creativity. And this just goes to show how, just like I don't really know exactly where my story is going when I start writing it, it also shows me how fluid you can be in terms of how you put the visuals together.
Yeah, I love it. Without that groundwork, once I get that groundwork in there, it's just like, oh, okay, cool. Then I could see like 10 different possibilities of how to put that scene to paper. It's like you've done all that heavy lifting. It's like, these are the things that need to happen. These are the elements that need to be in the scene.
That's right. By the way, Bill, we're almost at the 45-minute mark, which we've kind
Yeah,
of
yeah, we're almost there. That's about where we stay with our episodes. We keep it just under an hour.
Yeah, we don't want to overstay our welcome with our friends.
But I do want to thank everybody for coming out. Yeah, this is as far as we've gotten for today. So we got a couple of good scenes. I think the next time you show up, when we show up again on Sunday at 10, you're probably going to see a lot of. The first page will definitely be inked. There'll probably be some inks on this one, and we're going to start penciling a new one. But I think what we'll do next week is, maybe if page 1 is all done inked wise, we'll definitely show off some coloring. I think that would be cool. That would be super cool. That would be really fun.
Because you're an old colorist, Bill.
Hey, Christopher. Let's see. Christopher says, I signed up. What to know more? Oh, you want to know more about Zen? Awesome. Very, very cool, my friend. Yeah, it's we'll start sending out. There's going to be emails that go out every time there's some new information about the campaign. You'll get early information about the campaign, and I'll probably start posting. I'm going to have a new section of my website that'll have some basic information about Zen, so you can learn more about Zen. You can also order Zen books from First Comics, right? You can order some Zen books that are still in stock at First Comics, Steve.
Yeah. Well, interestingly, the book that is the precursor to Bounty Wars is Hard Bounty. That's the book he wrote, and that Marat Michaels did all the art on. The first printing of that sold out entirely, and now the second printing has sold out entirely.
Holy smokes!
However, that story arc, Hard Bounty, was comprised of 6 books, right?
Right.
What I've been told by Ken Levin, the publisher of First Comics, is that they're going to go into a second printing of certain of those books. Some of them have completely sold out, but they're going to do a second printing so that all 6 books they will have in stock. It'll take a couple of months, right? But they'll have all 6 books in stock, and they're going to bundle them, all 6 books up, and sell them as a set.
Now, Christopher is also asking, can you send a link for the books? Now, can you just find them at just firstcomics.com? Is that the
www.firstcomics.com? Yeah. And then you'll see, you can just search out Zen, and you'll see all the Zen books there. But again, the problem is at the Hard Bounty, the trade paperback by myself and Marat, the last time I saw that available anywhere on the internet was at Amazon, but a single copy of that book sold for $150.
Gotcha. Okay. No, we want to send some links. If you go to firstcomics.com, you'll find things still at cover price, and that'll be the best place right now, other than your local comic shop if they happen to have back issues of Zen.
Right. A key book that is still hasn't quite sold out yet, but will soon, is the one that you and I did, Bill, called Zen Bounty Hunter.
Right.
Black and white book, right? But that's the book that really got Zen squarely into the bounty hunting profession. Okay.
Exactly. Right.
Also, what happened in that's a key book, because that's the book in which Zen, if you will, grew the rest of his face.
That's the first time he gets his face. So
yeah, and so that's a key book, and it's by Bill and I, and that book is still available. Before it sells out, I would buy that. Like $9 or something. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we did good. I think we had a good night. I'm glad you guys were here. Anything else, Steve, before we sign out?
I think we've overloaded everyone with information. Thanks. Appreciate it. And we'll see you next week.
All right, that sounds like a plan. Let me see here. Also, something that helps me fund the show is if you go to billmouse.com. I have an online store that's there. You could buy artwork, PDFs, and comics. And thank you so much for being here tonight. And we will see you again next Sunday, 10 o'clock. We'll be here. Have a good night, everybody.